How's that? Can you guys hear me now? Hello? It might be a little too loud. Test 2. Test 2. Testing 1, 2. Thanks for being patient, you guys. Can you guys hear me now? Let me know if you guys heard that. That is so weird. Can you guys hear this? It's too much now? Okay. Man, let's see what is going on. How's that? Is that better? We hear a lot of you at the same time. Ha ha ha. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. You figure that everything should work out right at the beginning and then something doesn't. Okay. Is this good? Is it too loud? Because if it's... Here we go. Okay, now I gotta be louder. What is it? I have to be loud. Okay, how's about this? Let's just keep it here. And because I see on my end, it sounds okay all the way in. I don't know what echo you guys are talking about, but if there's a like a bad echo. Okay, how's that now? Is that okay? Oh, now too low? Okay, I think some of you guys are just chiming in. This is funny. This is hilarious, you guys. You think Bruddah Sam got this all together, but I don't. Okay, it's a Sunday afternoon. I took a nap. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. I see good enough already. How's the piano? I'll try to... How's the piano? Good? Yeah? Okay. All right, so we'll keep it at that, okay? And then if it gets a little too loud, then I am going to just do some adjustments, okay, guys? Oh, you guys are so funny. Oh, my word. Okay. Aloha, YouTube Ohana, or should I say Bruddah Sam's Alohana crew. That's what I'm going to call you guys already from now on. I'm going to tell you guys this much. Okay, here in Cali right now, it is burning. Burning. It is hot. Okay, it is hot here in Cali. I don't know. It's already supposed to be September. Okay, you know, like in the burr months. But it is hot. We're 102 right now here in Sacramento. Okay, we are 102 right now here in Sacramento. And there's no wind. Okay, so, well, don't fall asleep on me, Kelly. Oh, my word. Okay. Okay, first of all, let's see who's on here. Aloha. Okay, wow, it just keeps going and going and going. But aloha to all of you guys, okay? Whoever's jumping on. I see Kelly, Hazel, Travis. See you on here. Daryl, brother Daryl, you're on here too. Catherine, Patricia. Okay. Let's see. Chris. Ha 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 ha. Okay. 55 at your house in New Hampshire. I am jealous. Literally, I am jealous. Okay, because it is... Ooh, it is like 100... No, seriously, it is 102 outside. And I had to do some errands today. And that totally zapped me. Like, seriously. Oh, I need to fix this. It's crooked. Piano is crooked. Okay. Okay, so today I can't be on very long, like how we did on the last one, you guys, because we went like almost 2 hours on the last one. But you know what? We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun in the last live stream. Yeah, definitely. We had a lot of fun on the last live stream. And at the same time, we had a good time praying for each other, which was actually my intent. Like I said, being intentional, being live with you folks, and playing some music. And okay, all right, guys. Never mind. I should not have asked what the temperature is in your area, because it's making me jealous now. 70s, 55. We got 66 in Ohio. How's about this? Bruddah Sam just becomes your what do you call this? Let me just be your weatherman for today. Okay, how's about that? With my radio voice. And today's weather in Ohio, 65 in the North Carolina mountains, with a lovely breeze. And then we've got Earl coming in at 72 in North Carolina. Man, okay. Y'all just making me jealous, okay? It is 102 outside. The wind is hardly blowing. Well, we had a slight breeze. Yeah, we had a slight breeze. That's what I can tell you. Ooh, you know what? There's something on here that I used to play with quite a bit, and I don't remember what that was. Now, if I can get some... Yeah, there was something on here that as a kid I used to love playing on this piano. I don't remember what it was. Was it this? Okay, sorry if the sound is like... There it is. Like, put it... Ching! Ha ha ha! Get the joke, right? The wind chimes. Can you guys... There! The wind... That's not wind chimes. That's chimes. Anyhow, okay, I think I'm having a little too much fun. I shaved my mustache and goatee. When did I do that? I did that the other day, actually. I was thinking, man, I'm looking a little way too scruffy. So I want to look my young Filipino side again. I wanted to be my young Filipino side again, so that people will think I'm like only 28 years old. That's why I shaved my mustache and my beard. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I was just getting a little too scruffy, so I shortened it. So, baby face. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Deborah. Brad, Dennis, yes, they did. Yes, they did. No, I will not be able to meet up with Jacob because LA is SoCal and I'm here in NorCal. But lucky for him, he can travel. Me can't. Got my family, got my work. Yeah, and it's hard to take off right now. But yeah, we'll see. If you guys are following him, let's see where his trips will take him. Let's see. Barton. Okay, I saw 102, but the official was probably in the low 90s. But this is Utah. Wow. 30s. Okay. Okay, maybe not that low. Okay, because it does get pretty cold too here in Sacramento. During the cold weathers. But anyway, so like I was saying, enough with the weather already. Yeah, enough with the weather. How's that? So today, I promised you guys, I said I was going to talk about my my dad and my sister. And here's the thing. I was ready with all my stuff. Like, I was going to show you guys picture. Okay, see? My computer is still acting up, you guys. I was going to show you pictures of my sister, my dad, while I was talking, and kind of just... And my other PC is not budging. Like, seriously, there's some things that didn't work, just like how the volume, okay? My volume wasn't going on. And here's the thing. My thing is something that is going to happen, or I'm going to say, or whatnot, from this live feed, this live stream today, is going to bless somebody. And I'm going to say it straight up right now that it's just possible that the devil don't like that and trying to ruin this live stream right now already, so that somebody um, you know, somebody's not going to receive the joy, or someone's not going to receive the blessing that they deserve here online. And I don't know who it is that probably needs to hear this word right now. But the thing is, if you've been thinking to yourself like, oh, but me, woe is me, the whole thought of I am alone, you know what? I don't know how many times I'm going to have to remind you guys, you are not alone. Like in the words of Michael Jackson, you are not alone. I am here with you. Okay, no, and that's what God's trying to get at you, trying to remind you, you are not alone. Stop it. You already know the promises. His promises are yes and amen for you, and you already have it in front of you, but you're just choosing to just sulk in your loneliness. And the thing is, God can only be near to those who want him to be near. And if you're pushing him away, telling him, no, that's not the kind of, closeness that I want. Well, I don't know what else, my friend, but he is there for you. He's been there for you all these years. And I don't know who I'm talking to right now, okay? But he's been with you, for you, all these years. And you can't go back and say he's never been there for you. So whoever I'm talking to right now, I don't know who it is, but please just accept the Father's love and let him love on you, and remind you that you are much closer, and he is much closer to you than you think. All you got to do is just reach out and say, God, thank you for being with me through all these years. I don't know who that word is for. Like, seriously, I don't know why I had to say that. But if that was you, I pray, with all my heart that you receive God's love for you today, because he's never too far. Okay, he's not deaf, that he hasn't heard any single prayer that you have said. He hears you. But again, it's in his time, when things, which reminds me, and this might be a song where he goes, in his time, in his time, he makes all things beautiful. In his time, Lord, my life to you I bring. May each song to you I sing be to you a lovely thing in your time. Alright, so I don't know who that was for, but if that was for you, God bless you. And please, don't go deaf. Okay? Don't go deaf on God's love. He's been there, like I said, for you. And I think that's the reason. I think that's what it is. Like, seriously. Yeah, whoever it is for. He loves you. Okay, don't forget about that. I'm feeling that really strong right now in my heart. Like, it's very serious to you. So it's not a joke, and I'm not trying to make it funny. Because we all go through a season of loneliness. We go through a season of, God, where are you? You're not here. But if you look back in your lifetime, you knew he was there. He was always there for you. So just as a reminder, you are not alone. And there's many of us here, here for you. So reach out, anyone, say, hey, keep me in prayer. This is what I'm going through. That's what this hang time with Bruddah Sam is for, It's time of encouragement and stuff like that. If this is not for you, that's fine. You can come back when I do my reaction videos and whatnot. But like I said, I shared with many of you guys that during these moments, I want it to be intentional, and I want it to mean well and be a time of blessing to each and every single one of you guys, not just a waste of time. So anyway, wow, a whole bunch of stuff just went through. I didn't even, I just made sure that I get that word out. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, if God put that in my heart to share, I'm I'm gonna go step out in faith, say it, and like I said, maybe it could be for somebody else, you know, later on in the feed as they watch it, but or maybe with you guys right now. But anyhow, yeah. Okay, so let's go back here before I start the story with my dad and my sister here. You know, okay. Do you guys not hear me anymore? I hear somebody say they lost me. So, am I good? Are we good? Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. And again, like I said, you know, I'm not one of those things. I don't profess to be one of those things where it's just like, oh, you know, this, no, okay, because I don't like that myself. But sometimes when God tries to get a word out and you're not listening, you know, if you're not listening, sometimes God's gonna have to use something or somebody to kind of knock that sense into you and be like, hello, pay attention, you know, seriously. But yeah, so yeah. All right, here we go. My computer's not working, so I am so sorry, guys. I really wanted to share some photos. I have to use two different, you know, I have to use two different computers, but this other computer is not working with me. So anyway, where was I? Let's see, because I have to. I'm giving myself till pretty much 7:30, and so anyway. I think the last time we were talking about my dad. I believe so. When he was in the hospital, I think that's how this all started. And it was about the whole thing about being lonely, about living by yourself and, you know, no family around you. Yes, that's right. That was, if I remember carefully and thoughtfully, I believe that's what it was. So here's the shocker part. I never knew I had a sister. Okay? I never knew I had a sister whatsoever until my dad passed away. I'll let you guys think about that for a moment, okay? I never knew I had a sister until my dad passed away. The morning that my dad passed away, the news dropped, and my mom told me, did you know that your dad has another daughter and you have a sister? And I was like, what? No, seriously, I was okay. So October, yeah, that's what we were talking about. That my yeah, okay, I'm not gonna focus on the computer anymore. So if I share the photos one day, you know, I'll share the photos one day. But yeah, right now my other PC is not working, so I'm not gonna even sweat it. So well, maybe as I talk story. Thank you, Patricia. That's right. I was talking about senior citizen. That's right. Exactly. So that's how I was talking to my father. Okay. Come on. I really want to show this. You got to work with me here, computer. Oh, okay. Whatever. I'm like, nah. Anyway, so, where was I? Lost a train of thought. So, okay, yeah. So, basically, I never knew any of that my whole life. And when my... Okay, so let's backtrack because, again, this whole story, like I said, for those of you guys... for those of you guys Filipinos, if you guys know from TFC, the MMK, Maalaala Mo Kaya, Maalaala Mo Kaya, okay, that's the story where people, they make a movie out of people's story, their life story, like it's true stories. And so basically with my with this story, it goes way back when. Like, I don't even know how far back I should go, but you guys already know the story of, you know, myself, where my mom and my dad had gotten married back in 1975. You know, they met, and of course with the different age. By the way, I think many of you guys already know the age differences between myself, my mom, and my dad. And of course, without giving out way too much information online, I am 62 years away from my father. I am 35 years away from my mom. Okay, so yeah, pretty much it's a wide gap between all three of us. So again, going back to the story, mom and dad could not have kids, and you know, yes, that's right. You guys are sharing it there online, and we're gonna continue to pray for that. We're definitely gonna continue to pray for that. So don't give up hope. But yes, my mom and dad could not have kids whatsoever. It was just already there. They said, and I think I want to say this correctly and respectfully, but I believe the whole point with my mom was she had, and maybe some of you women may know this, but they said that she had a low mattress is what they called it. So I guess the place where the baby would sit, you know, it's not a good place. So it would be almost impossible to even carry a child, because pretty much my mom would probably just have, you know, a miscarried baby whatsoever. And of course, my dad being in his later years, yeah, that was pretty much done. So yeah, so as the doctor has just said, nope, you guys gonna adopt, and you're gonna just have to deal with it because you're not gonna have any kids, you know, that whole spiel. Fast forward, because we don't have all night, you know, but you guys already heard the story. Like I told you guys, some of you guys have heard the story. So after that news, you know, obviously mom and dad were really sad about it because they just wanted a child, and it never happened. And so fast forward down the years, 1980, 81, there was a missionary, mind you, the church back in Hawaii first started as a Foursquare church. So I don't know if many of you are senior saints here. You know, talking about denominations, you know, you got the Assemblies of God, you got the, you know, Lutheran, Protestant, you know, all that. But this was Foursquare, you know, and so there was a missionary, and they called her Nanai Thompson. You know, so she came to Hawaii, you know, to do some, you know, just reach out to different churches. You know how they just go around and speak at different places. And anyway, from what I remember, the story was, it was altar call time. And some of you guys remember as kids, oh, altar call time. I remember that, yeah. You know, and pretty much what happened was, I think, if I remember the story with Dad, he was saying that both he and my mom went to the altar and just kneeled and prayed, you know, at the altar, and, you know, asked the Lord, you know, if you could grant us this one prayer request, you know, and pretty much just asked the Lord for a favor. And says, you know, we're gonna give him back to you, you know, the whole thing. And pretty much Hannah's prayer in the Bible, if you know the story of Samuel in the Bible, and the missionary that came to the church at the time noticed that both my mom and my dad was at the altar, and they said, Pastor, what are you doing at the altar? You should be here praying with me, you know, not me praying for you, like what's going on. So obviously mom and dad shared their story, and the missionary pastor told the church, hey, let's pray for your pastor. I mean, they're asking something simple, you know, and they're asking the Lord for a child. And so church prayed, and fast forward 2 weeks later, 3 weeks, I guess, maybe, I don't know, my dad was frying fish at home, because we're good at that. As Filipinos, we love to fry everything. Fried fish, fried noodles. Fried lumpia. The whole thing. And so my dad, he was frying fish. I guess that's what it was. And my mom apparently didn't like the smell, and she shut the door and said, "I don't like the smell." She was getting sick. The whole, first trimester type of sicknesses kind of a thing. And then they brought her to the doctor, and my dad was like worried because mom wasn't doing well, and said, "Okay, well, let's do some blood tests, see what's going on with your wife." And here comes a doctor all befuddled. Okay, I don't know if that's even a word. I've heard it before. Like, like scratching his head, looking at the results, and said, "Pastor Alvito, don't know how this is happening, but your wife is pregnant." And so to the shock of the whole news, I mean, the news obviously gave them, it was a pretty big shocker to them. There I was, little tiny little bean, forming in my mom's stomach. And of course, because of what they said about my mom, where she might have some problems conceiving or holding a baby, they told my mom to kind of, hey, you gotta take it easy, kind of a thing. But I will tell you this. There's stories of my mom when they were building our house in Hawaii. She didn't even know she was pregnant. Okay, she was using the jackhammer, not jackhammer. I guess it's the leveler, where they level the foundation. So she did that, and she will tell you herself that she did that. She even played basketball in the beginning with the youth, not knowing she was pregnant at that time. Okay, and people have told me all of this, so this is all legit, not facts, but this is the truth. Yeah, my cousins would tell me, and other old time members from the church would say, "Oh yeah, your mom was like this, doing this, da 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 da," and we didn't even know she was pregnant. Now, tell me that's not a miracle right there. Number one, first, her being able to conceive, and then two, she went through all of that, like, rigorous work, housework, because they were building our house in Hawaii at the time. And anyway, so fast forward all of that, 8 months, I believe this is what the story my mom said. 8 months into that, my mom almost had a miscarriage with me, and I forgot what the story was, but pretty much. I almost was lost at 8 months. But again, this is what I say through all my years. If God has a plan, God has a purpose. Whether your life is good or bad, what it looks like, if there is a plan and there's a purpose for you, He's going to sustain your walk, and He's going to keep you standing no matter. Just like today in our messages today, it says in this life, you will go through trials and problems. He didn't say he was going to have an easy life, but lo, I will be with you, and I can attest to that pretty much. Everything that God has just promised in His Word, for me, for my mom, and look at me here, I'm almost 40, you guys. Okay, that's the story. Just fast forwarding all of that. Pretty much, I was a 9.5 pound baby, y'all. Okay, I was a 9.5 pound baby. I was a big boy. So for those of you guys mothers who have gave birth, you gave birth to your children, God bless you guys. Seriously. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward it all the way out. Okay, so after we had Javoy, okay, this was 2008, 2009. so Elijah was almost, or he was 1, and my dad was getting frail already. He was already 89. Like I said, he would have been 90 in 2009, but pretty much was 14. No, he died on the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 9 days. Okay, I can't do my math. I gotta use my hands. Cheating. 9 days short of turning 90. And I already shared a whole bunch with that. Like I said, if I shared almost everything in detail, we'll be here all night, you guys. This is no joke. That's why I said if my life story could be a movie, if they could do that on my dad, yeah, I'd be surprised what that would look like, you know, the end result. But anyhow, this secret was kept from me apparently all my years growing up, because here's the other side. When my dad married my mom is actually his third wife, because there's a backstory to that. When my dad was back in the Philippines, he had married, or I don't know if they even got married. I don't know. My nieces and nephews in the Philippines, if they watch this, they'll be like, okay, we got to get the story straight again. But I'm just gonna tell it to you the way I remember it. Okay. So my dad had, I guess, well, you know how they say back in the days, like what I was told was, you know, once the male and female had rolled around in the hay, that's it. Back in the day, that was it. You were destined to be together. Because remember, my dad was born in 1919. Okay, 1919. And so dad and his I'm just gonna say dad and his first wife, okay, they had their days back in the 1930s. Apparently, I can't count again. I'm not good in math, okay. And so with his first wife, they've been together for quite some time, and the story that was told to me was his first wife, I guess, I don't know what, I forgot what the Tagalog word was, but pretty much was, she just likes to play the game, you know, like hard to get kind of a thing, or kind of like I don't know, it was like it was a little dramatic at some point where it was, you know, like, I don't like you, but I want you to love me, kind of a deal. I don't know what you call that. Whoa, Travis, really? Your dad was born 1919? That's the year that my dad was born. October 23, 1919. Yep. That is exactly right. But anyway, so his first wife, that's what I was told. I forgot what the word, I don't want to say it wrong. So that's why I'm not going to even try to say it. But so she played this game with him. According to remember what the story was, I guess she did this several times, and my dad, I guess, kind of didn't like that anymore, where it was just like, you know, he was getting tired of the whole, you know, like, these foolish games are tearing me apart, you know, kind of a thing. And I don't know, that was back in the days, 1930s, so whatever that was, okay, like I said, this is just third, fourth person now, trying to get back the story to you guys, just being able to share that. Yeah, so he was tired of it, and so he left. He left her, and I guess went off on his own, and didn't see her, or I think she broke off the marriage. Well, actually, when I learned about it, her family didn't like my dad, because my dad was a farm boy, and my dad worked in the fields. Pretty much, he just went to third grade, and that was it. He ended up working in the fields, because back in the Philippines, if you were wealthy and you could go to school, and, you know, parents could support you, they put you to school. But if you wasn't, you know, wealthy, that's not correct English. Okay, so pardon me if my pigeon comes out, okay? Cat and mouse game, I guess that's what you could call it. But yeah, it would be like, you know, get away from me, you know, I don't like you, you know. But deep down inside, she's like, I want you to love me. I want you, kind of that thing. Yeah. So it's this tease and, get away, yeah, that, I guess, cat and mouse game. You could say that. I guess that's what it's called. All my kapamilya, if you guys know that word, that Tagalog word, okay, I'm going to be a little bold and say, I think it was pakipot? I don't know what that word is, but anyway, it was yeah, so he moved on without her and came back like maybe a year later or so. And as he was coming back to their place, because again, her parents didn't like him because he was a farm boy, so they couldn't do anything about that. They told her that you're not to be with him, because he's just only a farm boy. He's poor, or something like that. And yeah, so that was also another reason why I guess he moved away. And when he came back, he saw her holding a child, and so he asked. He goes, "Whose child is this?" And she said, "Not yours." So that whole game thing happened again at that time, but I guess she was trying to, she was trying to woo him back again in a way. But and mind you, when I found out the whole story, because I went back to the Philippines in 2011 to finally see my sister and the family. They told me that his first wife actually regretted doing that to him, because after she told him, this is not your child, and did that, played that whole game again with him, he was already offered to come to Hawaii on the boat back in the day, because if I'm right, there were the stories where a lot of the farm workers from the Philippines were offered the chance to get on the boat and travel to the States, here in the United States, for a job and to work. And so my dad, I guess some family member told him, hey, there's another ticket that you can get onto the boat, and you have a chance if you want to go. It's going to Hawaii. That's going to work in the sugarcane fields, on the island of Kauai, and then move on to wherever, they needed them. So my dad was actually one of those travelers back in the I remember what year. I got to look at my dad's eulogy to be sure, because I wrote it all there. So yeah, he had a chance to come to Hawaii, and because his first wife said, this is not your child, but technically it was. Okay? Just remember that. Technically, she got pregnant by my dad. And so that's where it all started. But because she played that game with him, and said, this is not your child, she thought he would come back to her, but didn't realize that he took, he took it seriously about, going to the United States, becoming American citizen, and working abroad and whatnot. She didn't know that he would do that for reals. So anyway, just remember that, okay? Just remember that backstory. So Dad came to Hawaii, back then, 1940s. Excuse me. Yeah, early 1940s or whatever. And he did work, as a farm worker, in the sugarcane fields, and I think pineapple too, if I'm not mistaken, back in in Hawaii. And from there, that was his journey to the United States, and that was my dad's journey. That's how he started. So, like I say, I can't say that I came from a rich family either. What has been given to me, whatever I have right now, is all a blessing from the Lord. And you just work hard, and you earn, just to make a living, and you buy when you want, to get some things for yourself. But no, I don't have it all made. I don't because that's my history. Dad was a farm worker, and you know, that's what it was. And so anyway, Dad started a new life. We're gonna fast forward here now. You guys doing good? Am I boring you guys? I hope you guys not putting you guys to sleep, because it'll get interesting at some point. It will get interesting. So don't fall asleep on me, okay? So anyway, Dad moved to Hawaii and he started a new life, and from there, this is Dad's story still yet. So I think this might be a blessing and a miracle for and an encouragement for somebody here. So it was after, I think, World War II. It just happened because I know my dad told me stories about when Pearl Harbor, happened back in Hawaii. And 1946, I believe, was Dad. He got sick. Pneumonia, I think was. Yeah, he had pneumonia. Like, it was really bad. Pretty much it landed him on his deathbed. 1946. Okay, I'm trying to remember my dad's testimony now. I just wish all these years that I was a kid, if I had a digital recorder, which we didn't as a child, okay? I had cassette recorders. But if I had a digital recorder, I would have recorded my dad's testimony as many times just so that I could have it to this day. That's one thing I would regret. But anyway, his testimony, basically, he was in what he called dying room back in Hawaii, on the island of Oahu, Wahiawa General Hospital. He was put into pretty much a room where you're left for dead, pretty much, with two soldiers that were wounded from the war. And again, mind you guys, I'm still trying to remember all this. I'm not making this up. Like, this is legit. If you guys, okay, here's the thing. One day, soon and very soon, after I share this story with many of you guys, and maybe those of you guys who are gonna watch later, I don't know what heaven is gonna be like, but I'm sure my dad's gonna be able to share his testimony, his story one day in heaven, when we all get to heaven. Yeah, you guys remember that song? When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. That was his favorite song. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. All right, so moving on. I had to insert that song. That was one of my dad's. Oh my goodness, Bruddah Isaac, is that you? Is that my brother? Is that my brother Isaac from Whitmore? Oh my gosh, bruh. Tears are gonna come down my eyes right now. Bruh, I miss you, man. What is going? Can I just say, everybody say what is aloha to my brother Isaac Lorenzo, who is just on. He's giving me the shaka from Whitmore. I knew this brother all the way back then when we were kids. Bro, man, I miss you. I was just thinking about you guys, you and your family, mom, dad. Okay, guys, this story, Isaac will tell you that it is legit real. Okay, I gotta wipe my tears. I'm just happy to see Isaac on here. Bro, it is. Oh, okay. Let me just keep going. Okay, but anyway, Isaac, mahalo much for hanging on with us today. It's a blessing, man. I wish I could see your face right now. Seriously. Anyway, so wow, that whoo, talk about rekindling friendships from back in the days. Anyway, so yes, Isaac will tell you my dad's story. So anyway, so he was in the dining room, and that night, pretty much, his thing was, you were gonna go. Yes, Whitmore in Wahiawa. That is exactly where we're from. This brother is from the red dirt. Okay, grew up, got dirty in it, ate the red dirt. Okay, yes, that Whitmore Village. Okay, in Wahiawa. Anyway, so Dad was in the dining room,
with 2 soldiers, and pretty much they were left there for the night. And the next morning, pretty much, story is they would go, and pretty much that's it. They're gone. But before the night ended, my dad's testimony said 2 Hawaiian missionaries came in, to share the gospel in that dying room. I love you, man. I love you, man. I can't type right now, but everybody hears me say it. I love you, brother. Please say hi to your mom, them. Okay, your dad, them. It's been a while. Gotta catch up. But anyhow, what you call? 2 Hawaiian missionaries walked into the room. My dad said that they went to the 2 soldiers, and he heard them say, "Do you know about Jesus? Do you know?" Started to share the gospel, and he saw that the 2 soldiers, as he was laying down, he saw the 2 soldiers said, "No, not for me. I don't want to hear it. Pretty much just leave me alone and just let me die," is what my dad said. And so when the 2 Hawaiian missionaries came to my dad, I remember his very words. They said to him, "Papa, do you know Jesus?" And my dad's reaction to that was, "I have my own religion. You leave me alone." And of course, the Hawaiian missionaries didn't push, but they said, "No, we're not here for religion. We're here to share about Jesus. That do you know?" He says, "Papa, do you know that if and when you die tonight, where are you gonna go?" And so my dad couldn't give an answer of where he was gonna go if he was gonna die, and so that caught his attention, and so he kept listening. They shared the gospel with my dad. Simply shared the gospel with my father, in his deathbed, 1946, Wahiawa General Hospital. And he accepted, again, long story short, he accepted Jesus as his personal savior, and he received, he prayed the sinner's prayer, that, many of you guys, my fellow brothers and sisters, you guys know, what that is. I mean, there's many different types, different kinds, but hey, as long as you pray that sinner's prayer, you believe in your heart that Jesus died on the cross for you, that one day that when you die here on this earth, we're going to get to heaven. We're going to get to see Jesus one day. We're going to see all our loved ones. And so my dad said after he prayed that prayer, the 2 Hawaiian missionaries pretty much loved on him there and said, "Papa, if we don't see you again, we'll see you on the other side of heaven." And of course, my dad, being that he was just a new Christian at that time, said, "Okay." And dad said after they left and they prayed, I think they even sang something. They sang a song with him. And I think this is what some of you guys had asked, but I believe it was, "What a friend we have in Jesus." That song. Sorry, my note. Can't sing. Hey there, Joshua. Nice to have you on. Yeah, it was that song, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," and Dad went to bed. Next morning, Dad wakes up, and this is no joke. Isaac will tell you exactly his story. Dad wakes up to someone shaking his bed. Okay? As Dad is shaking in his bed, and this is the part that I wish I could have recorded, he goes, he starts moaning, in his bed, like in slight pain and, moving around. And he said the Japanese nurse that shook his bed jumped up and she said, Aya, you are alive, ka. Okay, that was the words. And she freaked out, ran out of the room because she thought they were all dead, like they were all gone. Um, see, Isaac has told you. See, he's laughing. True story, because my dad will tell you straight up. The nurse freaked out that because she was ready to put him. Sorry, I'm yelling into the microphone. She was ready to put him in his body bag. Like he was ready. She was ready to prepare him to put him in the body bag because my dad said when he actually got up and he looked, the two soldiers were already wrapped up in the black body bag. They were already wrapped up. He was the last one. And according to him, he said that the nurse like ran screaming like ah. She got scared because he moved, because she thought he was dead. Like, I guess, wouldn't you think that you would check the pulse first before you start doing all these things? But yeah, according to him, he says that she rocked the gurney that he was on, and he woke up. And from there, you guys, 1946, after my dad gave his life to the Lord again, Isaac, I'm so glad that you're on, brother, because you're confirming exactly my dad's story right now. Like yes. And so from there, it just went from he's alive, Papa is alive, kind of a thing. And of course they took him out and they checked all his vital signs and everything, guys. My dad said he was so sick that he was ready to go. Like, they let him go. Like, there was no hope for him. He was done. But like I told you, if God says that he is not done with you yet, just like many of you guys have reminded me that Bruddah Sam, even with COVID, what happened to me when I was sick, and I said, God, if there's still another purpose and another plan for my life, then God, please show that, oh, Pastor Jared is on. He's on with me. But yeah, so yes, that nurse, I'm sure it changed her life forever. Like, that kind of scared her pretty much crazy, okay? And my sister over here is talking about the song "It Is Well." That is my dad's, right? In fact, he said that every time he sings that song, "It is well, it is well with my soul," my dad would go back and think about his deathbed moment. And I'm gonna change this real quick. Yeah, he would because of that song, "It Is Well with My Soul," and what had happened, the transformation that happened to him on his deathbed. Again, I am not making this up, you guys, and I know I sound like probably a preacher online right now, sharing his story and playing the piano at the same time. Look at me about having like service up in here. Yes, Josh, that's exactly right. The healing power of God. This is no joke, you guys. He was healed instantly. He went home the day after. Like, no more pneumonia, nothing. Nothing in his body. He was completely healed, and my dad said after that moment, he believed with all his heart that because he prayed that prayer, by the saving grace of Jesus Christ, my dad was saved. Because what my dad told me, and he keeps sharing this story whenever he would preach, what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul? Brother Isaac, oh, come on now. I love you, brother. That's crazy. Mahalo much. My dad would say this from the pulpit. He goes, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world? What does it mean that you get all these things? You gain all these things, but you lose your own soul. Um, I can still see my dad preaching this from the pulpit, you guys. He goes, I gained everything. I thought I had everything until it got to the point where he was on his deathbed and he no longer could move. He no longer could do anything. But all he said was, I just said yes to Jesus. Because that was the last straw. That was the last thing that I could do. And if what the two Hawaiian missionaries said was true, what else could I do but just accept it? So my dad said, I just accepted it. That was the last thing. And next thing you know, I opened my eyes. It's a brand new me. And I don't know, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. But my life has all been not, all stories not. It's all been miracle stories, guys. So that was the story of my dad. And from there, it just went on. Him on loving the Lord. He sold his plantation house, or he turned his plantation house into a church, which is my home church back in Whitmore Village, Wahiawa. It was called the Universal Christian Church and Bible School back in the day. But right now it's Maranatha Christian Church, and the church is still going strong, you guys. 1961, that church was put into place. And they are still going strong in Whitmore Village, Wahiawa. Directed under Pastor Sir Domingo, which again was just everybody who I grew up with. They've seen me as a child, and that too, that my dad, he had nothing. Like I told you, my dad had nothing. There was nothing that he had in his pocket. All he said was yes, and God just exponentially gave it to him, because he went by faith. Especially building the church, that's another story. But again, tonight is all about how my sister and my dad. So we'll go back to another story time of my dad and how he started the church back in Whitmore. But anyway, so after that, my dad had and this part I'm gonna just skim through because I kind of don't want to talk too much about this part. But dad got married again to his second wife. When he started the church. Yes, Hazel, you are correct. To God be the glory. Amen. That's another one of his favorite hymns. To God be the glory. Yeah, if you guys can reach that. Yeah, to God be the glory. And so anyway, dad got married second time, and just some things. Again, I don't want to talk about negative stuff on here. I really don't. But just some things didn't work out, and let's just say it wasn't my dad's fault. Okay, because my dad was doing missions work and he was working overseas. He went to, and I don't know if I'm allowed to even say this place, but he went to, let's just say, the Marshall Islands to work. And yeah, okay, so you kind of get it there. He went to do some work there, and yeah, it came home and it was a different story already. Anyway, so that was the second wife, and he didn't have any children, with his second wife, and so dad was. Yeah, that was his second wife, and that was just another season in his life where he had to trust the Lord and be like, okay, God, what is going on? And that was then when he met my mom, 1974, maybe 1974 or 75. And again, the story of how they all met is long. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into details with that, but anyway, dad finally met my mom. And according to what I heard, he told my uncle Paul, that I'm gonna marry that woman or something like that, because that's my wife, that's my wife. And my mom, apparently, she told me her side of the story, saying, that ain't, I don't want to get married to, he's old, kind of a thing. Like, are you kidding? How many years is that? 62 minus 35, because I was just born. Someone do the math. So how many years is that? 40? I don't know. I can't do math in my head right now. Anyway, so mom just didn't like the idea. Like, okay, this guy's way older than I am, and yeah, no. But anyway, have it as your way. And this is another teaching lesson. Sometimes you think like, man, God, I want to do it my way. I don't want this. I don't want that. No, that's not for me. Ew, gross. Kind of a thing. But again, if God puts things together because he knows that the outcome is going to be an awesome, beautiful thing, ain't no way. 27. Thank you, guys. He's going to put it together. So anyway, mom gave in, and mom and dad got married in 1975. And that's where my story comes back to how I was born. Okay, so now here we go. You guys catching up? I got 30 minutes left with you guys. But anyway, so let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. Here we go. Ready? So 1981 comes. 1981, I was born, and dad went back to the Philippines. He went to go start the church in Saragossa, Nueva Ecija in the Philippines. And because, he already had the church started in Whitmore. So dad, he wanted to go back to his hometown and start a church there. So he did. And right now from one church, I believe there is a total of 9. I don't know, my mom's going to correct me on this one. 9 churches now that came out from that one. Right now, there's about 9 churches in the Philippines that have come out of that one, as my dad had, planted those churches. And I was blessed to go back in 2018 and speak, actually, at the home church in Saragossa, Nueva Ecija. And I was able to speak it was a public high school, and I remember speaking and sharing the word to like hundreds of people, because they had the speakers out. It was just filled with so much people out there, and they had speakers out into the neighborhood, so people from their homes were listening and everything. But anyway, yeah, it was a blessing to go back in 2018 to go do that. But anyway, dad did that in 1981. He started the church there. He also had baptisms in the river, which he did. He baptized people who came to know Christ. So yeah, all of that, planting churches and everything. So they built the church. Again, I wish I had photos, you guys, but again, my computer failed me today. So anyhow, yeah, so that happened, 1981. So all these years, my mom and my dad, or my mom actually found out about my dad's past. Somebody had told my mom back in the day, but every time my mom would bring it up with my dad would get upset and told her, I left it at the cross. It is done. When I met Jesus, my past is now gone, and I think my mom brought it up to him, because this is now my mom telling me this, that they said that you have a child or whatever, and my dad would just say no, because she told me that that's not my child. So by now my dad was kind of already like, that's my past, it's done with, I left it at the cross. I'm a new person now, Jesus changed my life, and why are you bringing up my past? And no, she said it with her own mouth that that's not my daughter, or that's not my child. So I believe her. So anyway, so my mom didn't want to get into an argument with my dad okay, with that, and my mom just left it, just dropped it. But obviously some of the church members back in Whitmore, they're also family members who knew my dad's side back in the Philippines, and apparently they kept this all from me all these years. And some of my family members in the Philippines who also knew about my sister and their family, they knew about it but never told me because they were instructed by my other cousin who said, don't mess up, don't mess up uncle's life, don't mess up, papa, grandpa's life, because he's a new man now, he's different, just let it be, just let it go, just let it be, kind of a thing. Where, because my dad believed one thing that he heard from his first wife, he just said, no, it's not even possible, that's not it, she said it with her own mouth, that's not my child. So that was it, and he was done. He was fed up with the whole cat and mouse game. Okay, so just remember that. So my mom was like, okay, well, she didn't want to argue with my dad about it, so that's why it was dropped. So mind you, all these years, I knew nothing about it. Now, when my dad had married his second wife, she had children of her own, not from him, but from a previous marriage. So obviously, when that happens, they would call him dad, but technically that's their stepdad. And I remember at one point I received a phone call. I had received a phone call one day, and she's, can I speak to Tata Albito? Kind of was like that, pretty much, on the phone. And I said, oh, he's not here. Who's this? And then she said her name. And I said, oh, okay. She goes, oh, yeah, this is, well, it's not like you guys, yeah. She said, this is Mary, and this is his daughter. Huh? What? Mind you, okay, I was born into a 3-generational family. I am 62 years away from my father. I am 35 years away from my mother. I grew up, in elementary school thinking, wow, my dad looks old. He looks different from the other dads that I see here. Like, what is wrong with this picture? I went all the way through 6th grade, and there were times where my dad would pick me up in the car, and I would be so embarrassed to get in the car because my friends would say, is that your grandpa? And I would say, yeah, that is. Bye. See you tomorrow. Like, I literally did that, you guys. You guys chuckle and laugh. But no, I'm being serious here. Like, there were times where I could not face my friends and be like, yeah, that's my dad. Like, it was hard for me to accept that because I was like, how is my dad so old? Kind of a thing. And but again, I wasn't this rebellious kid. It was just like when I was around my friends, I'm like, yeah, that's my grandpa. But he, of course, it's not, it's my dad. But anyway, yeah, so because again, and of course, I shared this also in past live streams that as a teenager I went through quite a bit. I went through I went through an identity crisis as well, because there were times where I really doubted that my mom and my dad were really my parents. Because I would look at the age difference, and I would look at, the things happening at home. Like, I was always at home. I could never go out with my friends. I could never, if it was youth, oh, they would be like, yeah, go hang out with the youth, go hang out with, the kids. Because, again, remember, my house was next door to the church. For those of you guys who remember that, okay? It was literally 15 steps from my door, my door to the church, okay? So, like, yeah, that's how close it was. And so anytime the youth were there or the kids were there, they would say, okay, go. But I can't say I never had a normal childhood. That's the wrong way of saying it. I never had that kind of, childhood where, yeah, go out with your friends, or, go hang out, blah, blah. No, I was boxed in. I was pretty much sheltered. Like, dad kept me safe. That's why with carpentry, again, with my dad, he never allowed me to touch the skill saw, never did any of that until I was much older, to hold, or help him be around, because he didn't want me to get hurt, because he was so careful with the fact that God blessed us with a child. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to protect you, and, kind of like just watch out for you, kind of a deal. That's why mom and dad really kept me safe. Anyway, so yeah, so where am I? Let me just fast forward. Okay, so all of that happened, if you guys remember beginning. Okay, so now dad passed away. October 14, 2009, 1 year pretty much after my son turned 1. And this is the part that I wanted to share. Again, if you notice the trend here, that after my dad gave his life to the Lord, anything that my dad had prayed for, specific, this is what he told me. He says, Anak, if you're not specific with God, he's only going to give you the general. But unless you are specific, he's going to give you exactly what you asked for. Given you be faithful unto the Lord, given that your trust is in him, given that you have given your life over to the Lord, because like today, today's message with Pastor Markel, he mentioned, and this is what got me really good, you know, do you love God really with all your heart, or do you just like him for what he can give you, or for who he is? That's pretty strong. You know, and my dad, he was a hard worker. He's, you know, like I said, he gave up his house so it would turn into a church. And again, my dad would never, as humble as he was, he doesn't like to be recognized and everything, and you know what have you. But the legacy that he left before the Lord took him home, like I said, is just tremendous, and it's a blessing for me to share that even to this day. You know, sometimes a pressure, sometimes, but anyway, so Dad gave me a talk in July of 2009. Right before we went back home to Hawaii to celebrate my son's first birthday. He told me, he sat me down. He says, Anak, I feel like my time is up. I said, why? Because my prayer for you was, and for myself was, Lord, don't take me home yet until I see the children of my children. So he was very specific in that prayer again. He told me, again, be specific with your prayers. And he said, I was specific with the Lord. He says, I'm not leaving this earth until I see the children of my children. So I said, well, you're not going anywhere, Dad, because obviously Ja boy, he's only one. Children is different from child, right? So I was bargaining with my dad as I was sitting, you know, at the table with him, listening to him. But I could sense that, yeah, it looks like, because Dad was going through, you know, some problems already. He was getting frail. At that time, again, he was 89. Okay, so basically he said that, you know, no, I think my time is coming up. I said, you remember the story of me in my deathbed? My weight is going back to, you know, what I was back in the day. And I said, you know, I tried to stop him so many times. I said, no, Dad, you know, you're not going yet. It's not your time yet. And he goes, okay, maybe not, but I just want to make sure I have this conversation with you. So fast forwarding, we go to Hawaii for my son's first birthday. We go back home. He sees the church again. You know, he sees the church one more time and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we had a great time going back home celebrating my son's first birthday. We come home. Okay. We're flying home. This was after Labor Day, 2009. We're about ready to land at Sacramento International, Hawaiian Airlines. And you know how the plane dips like this? It takes a dip, and then pretty much you're ready for touchdown. Right as the plane touches ground here at Sacramento International Airport, my dad lifts up his right hand and starts crying out loud. Now, for those of you guys who knew my father, and Isaac will tell you this, if you knew my father, he was a very passionate, emotional man. He cried praying over dinner one night, and I was like, Dad, I'm hungry. Can we stop now? Like, can you just pray for the food and let's eat? Okay. But anyhow, he lifted up his hand and he cried out loud, saying, thank you, Jesus, I'm back home now. And I was like, Dad, put your hand down. You know, the stewardess behind us, because we were sitting towards the back, like, kind of got worried, like, okay, there's a gentleman raising his hand, like, is he okay? You know, kind of a thing. And I looked at her, I said, no, he's fine. You know, like, kind of embarrassed a little bit. But it was pretty loud that he cried out from his soul. He says, thank you, Lord, I am back home. Never knew exactly what that was. Anyway, I'm gonna fast forward even faster. Okay, guys, so hang on. Here we go. We get home. I had to work the next day. This was when I used to work electronics at Target. I go to work the next day, and I get a phone call with my mom getting frantic. My mom goes, "Sam, can you come home? Can you come home?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "It's your dad." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "I don't know. He just got up, and then he just got up and he decided to pee in the hallway." Was this, what my mom told me, and I'm like, "Why? Like, why would he do that? That's crazy." He goes, "I don't know. Just come home." And truth be told, when God's favor is upon you, He'll make everything work out for you. I told my manager, said, "I gotta go home. I gotta go take care of my dad." And these managers, they knew, I took care of my dad and my parents, and how busy I was in church. So they were like, "Oh, okay, go." So I go home. I check on dad. So he goes through this whole thing of getting upset, getting mad, and everything like that. Come to find out, after talking to the doctor, this was 2 weeks later already after this first happening. Doctor tells me, "Sam, I think your dad has dementia." And I'm like, "What? What is dementia?" Like, I don't understand what that is. And so she goes, "You shared with me how he would yell at you, and then all of a sudden he would be nice to you." And because he had those moments, 2 weeks of dementia where he would yell at me, and I'm like, "Why are you yelling at me?" Like, I'm trying to hear, I'm trying to be here with you. But yeah, so come to find out, it was dementia. So it was 2.5 weeks of that. And then going through some hospitalizations, finally dad left home, and we brought him to the hospital, where he ended up being in a care home for a while. And let me tell you guys this, guys. I thought about my dad's, story back in July of 2009, and I said, "God, are you taking him home already? Like, what's going on?" Like, it was like a slight downhill slope for dad. And all of a sudden, after that, I get a phone call. It's Kaiser. They say, "We had to rush your father to the hospital. He's no longer at, the care home." And I'm like, "What in the world?" And so, mind you, all this, God had protected my job at that time. He had protected a lot of different things at that time where I had to care for him. Anyway, dad only lasted at Kaiser maybe about a week and a half, or another 2 weeks or so, before I visited him one more time, and they said that he ended up with TB. And they said it's possible because of his immune system he could have got that from the care home or whatever, but that's what's slowly getting him. They didn't say he had pneumonia, but yeah, dad was just going downhill. And I have a picture, and I think some of you guys who've been following me for years, for the years that I've been on, I've shared that photo of my dad holding my hand like this on his bed. I think if you followed me, I've shared that photo. If not, I'll post it on the community thread, so that you guys will see it. He held my hand, and he said to me his last words the day before the day before the Lord took him home. He said, "I want you to keep doing what God calls you to do. If it means to continue in musicianship, if it continues to mean other things, listen to the Lord." He says, never once, because my dad was a pastor, never once did he and I ever had a conversation about taking over the church. Never once did he ever pressure me to fulfill his duties as a pastor. Never once did we ever had that kind of conversation. He never pressured me, ever, at all. He just specifically says, "I don't want to dictate to you what I want you to do, because I don't want to stand before the Lord one day and God tell me, why did you tell him to do something different if I already instructed him to do something for me?" And so I was like, wow, what faith, what trust, my dad had in the Lord. And I tell you, like, ministry wise that I've done all these years, again, like I said, I'm not a perfect person. I've gone through my load of craziness, guys. In my youth days, and even even now there's times where the enemy just throws the curveball and stuff like that, and it's like all you can do is just say, God, I trust you. I'm leaving that in your hands. And yeah, that grip that my dad held my hand, he said, whatever news comes your way, just forgive, accept it, love. And it was just like he was giving me his speech, but of course I was in denial of it. Okay. Anyway, we had that, and I remember playing the song on my phone because he said, play. And I'll go a little bit longer. I know I said 7:30. I'll go a little bit longer. I'm sure my family is watching me right now online. And we're gonna have dinner soon, but I feel like there's a point here where it's gonna bless some of you guys and just share my dad's story and my sister. He said, can you put on some music and just worship? And I didn't, I was like, what do I have in my phone? But the one song that he and I sang together, which he cried that he could not even make to the third verse, was, because he lives, I can face tomorrow, because he lives. All fear is gone, and because I know He holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. He couldn't even make it through the chorus as I sat there with him holding his hand on his deathbed. And sorry, I'm getting emotional here now. All I remember saying was, God, let me have the same faith that that Dad had. He trusted you all these years. He trusted your word all these years, and you've never failed him. We had so much stuff happen to us as a family. People stealing from us, like in the thousands, taking advantage of us and all that kind of stuff. But never once did I see God fail my family, you guys. And as hard it is to believe that sometimes, like, God, where are you? Why did you make this happen? Why do you do this? I had those times, I had those moments, but I'll tell you this much, because of the faith that my dad had in him, and I keep telling this as my story, that I never was taught how to ride a bike. Oh, my dad did. He tried to ride a bike with me, tried to teach me, but he fell off, and that was it. But, I'll never get to go fishing. I'll never go do all these sports stuff with my dad, like fathers and sons doing together. I'll never be able to do that with my dad. I'll never have a chance to do this with my dad because my dad was much in the older years, and all he did was work carpentry and church. I said, that was my story. I said, I'll never be able to do that. However, if there's one thing that my dad left me, it was the love for Jesus. It was the love for the ministry, for his kingdom work. It was the love for musicianship. It was the pursuit of that. Even if I fall, you gotta get up. Even if you fall, get up. Get up. Don't give up. My dad, at the age of 80, he was still climbing ladders. He goes, this is just my body. I can still do this. He still finished a school back in Hawaii, you guys. He finished a school at 82, 83, 84. It's called Hanalani Schools. If you want to look that up, it's hanalani.org. Here, I'll type it out. I don't know if it's on there. You guys can check it out. Hanalani.org, I believe was. Hanalani.org. This school my mom and my dad worked at, it is back in Mililani, Hawaii, and my dad helped build. He was a foreman to build the junior high, the middle school section, and the big atrium that they have right now. And he was 82. People were freaking out, like, Pastor Albedo, what are you doing on the ladder? You're, obviously you see someone who's old and frail, and there he was. He was like, no, I'm fine. God will protect me. And I tell you that they finished that $1 million project with my uncles and my ninongs. They all worked hard, to finish that project. And Hanalani schools, every time I go back, I always look back and I remember that for my dad. But yeah, go check that out if you guys want. Hanalani schools, back in Mililani, Oahu, Hawaii. That's just some of the buildings that my dad had helped. But he told me, Sam, don't give up. Don't give up. He held my hand tight. And we even sang Shout to the Lord too, because that was one of his favorite ones from Darlene Check. Anyway, I let go of his hand. I went home. And that night, Dad went home to be with the Lord. They called me. Kaiser called me and they says, Dad, your dad expired. Obviously the news. And I prayed that prayer. I said, God, did Dad just pass on something to me as he held my hand? And some people have told me it was just like Elijah passing that mantle on to Elisha. And to this day, whatever reason it is, doesn't matter of what I have hanging on the wall, credentials and stuff like that. That's what my dad told me. He says, doesn't matter what credentials you have hanging on the wall, doesn't matter what you have diploma hanging on the wall. If God is calling you to do something for him, it's his style, it's his way, it's his doing. No man can put that on you. Excuse me. And so, anyway, going back, rewind a bit. So that morning, as we, after they called us, my whole family, we went to the hospital, and Elijah was still, he was on his bed. We went to go see him, and all I remember was before leaving home, something inside of me was like, take the anointing oil. And I'm like, for what? I'm thinking, take the anointing oil, why? So anyway, I just picked it up real quick and I slipped it in my pocket and we went to Kaiser. Anyway, once we entered the room, I saw my dad and I was like, he looks so awesome. Like, they told me he went in peace. He didn't struggle. He was laying there and, I started talking to him and I remember grabbing his hand one more time. And guys, this was like almost an hour later. Dad's hands were still soft. Okay, I'm not making this up, okay? His hands were still like slightly warm and soft, but of course, me being like, oh, this is scary, like they already said he passed away. Because he passed away at 2:32. All right, have a good night, guys. I know this is a little longer. If you guys gotta go, it's cool. God bless you guys. So yeah, anyway, I grabbed his hand, and for some reason, I told my family, hey, let's pray the Lord's Prayer. So we prayed the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth that is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us this day, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. The whole thing. And as I was holding his hand, I remember my dad, he loves the song, the doxology, and he always would sing it. He would say, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. And even if he was out of pitch, like he would sing it forever. I'm like, Dad, quiet. All I remember was saying, for thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory forever. Amen. And all I remember was, because again, I was always by my dad's side whenever he did funerals, dedications, and all of that. I just did the same. So as I was holding his hand, I said, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, I dedicate you back unto your Maker. Dad, I love you. I said, I love you, but I dedicate you back unto the Lord. No joke. The moment I said, I dedicate you back unto the Lord, his hand got cold. It got cold that I freaked out. I let go real quick because it got cold in my hand and stiff. Excuse me, my throat. I've been talking quite a bit now. Hello, for those of you guys who just joined on. If you guys want to catch up, you're gonna have to rewind from the beginning because I'm not gonna go back anymore. But thanks for joining me this evening. But yeah, pretty much once I said that, his hand grew cold, and I was like, "Whoa, that was crazy! Like I've never experienced that ever in my life." But that kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, but as I shared that with other people and I shared that with our pastors, they told me he was waiting for you. Your dad was waiting for you. He passed away at 2:32 p.m. at 2:32 a.m. We didn't get to the hospital until like 5 something that morning. Yeah, so it's been hours, and they waited for us before they bagged him up and put him away and everything. But after that feeling, I was like, wow, that's crazy. I've never experienced that ever in my life, but it happened. I tell you that. So here's the part, and I don't have a really long story with the ending portion, but that morning, after we had taken a rest, I had started getting on the computer, and no, we're good, Daryl. My mom, while I was doing all the paperwork, calling Hawaii and calling Maalaala Mortuary and just telling them, hey, Dad passed away, and it's like, what? You guys were just here, back, like only a month ago, because we had gone in. My dad wanted to make sure that all the plots that we had was already taken care of, with me and my family. So we actually went to Maalaala Mortuary that time when we went to Hawaii. And so when I called them, say, hey, Dad went home, and so we'll take care of everything. Mom drops the news. Okay, this is where Mom drops the news on me, because I told her specifically, is there anything that I need to know? Is there anything that you need to tell me, because I want to make sure I get the story straight as I take care of Dad's stuff. And then she drops the bomb and says, your dad has a daughter in the Philippines. And as I was typing and taking care of some stuff, I went, huh? Wait, what? I turn around and I look at her, and my mom is like scared. She looks, she's kind of scared telling me this. And I'm like, are you serious? I was like, when are you guys trying to tell me this stuff? Like, when are you guys going to tell me, that, in my head, I'm like, next what? Are you going to tell me I'm adopted now? Kind of a thing. And I said, are you going to tell me that now? Like, after all these years? And she goes, no, your dad didn't want to talk about it, so forth and so on. And I'm like, a part of me was excited, actually. I was excited that, see, I knew it. I knew all these years. I wasn't the only child. Like, I had somebody, which was true, because I felt like I was, like, there was a piece of me somewhere. Anyway, let's fast forward. I know I keep saying fast forward. I email my cousins in the Philippines, and I said, okay, drop the secrecy. Mom already told me that, Dad has a daughter somewhere. Dad has a daughter, and I need you guys to come clean and tell me what is going on, because I want to know the story. I am not mad. I am excited. Please tell me. I didn't get an answer from them for a whole week, and I think they're trying to figure out how this would work. And finally, I get a messenger call from the Philippines on Facebook Messenger. My niece, she calls me and she goes, Uncle, please don't be mad. I'm like, why? And she goes, we knew about this all along. And I'm like, okay, tell me. What is my sister like? Where is she? This and this. And she goes, yeah, that was from your dad's first wife, and so forth and so on. And I'm like, okay, enough with all of that. I said, get me a picture, like, show me, what does she look like? And all this, I was getting excited. It's like, oh man, I lost my dad, and then now you guys tell me I have a sister. Yeah, maybe she's my half sister, but she's still my sister, kind of a deal. And I told them, and we were going back and forth. and they were like, okay, you're okay with it? I go, yeah. And so anyway, that opened because of my acceptance of that, and I wasn't harboring any hurt or pain, knowing that I had a sister. I had my half sister. Again, my dad died not knowing that he had a daughter for real. Even if people were telling him that, you do have a daughter in the Philippines, and he says, nope, my wife told me I didn't have. My first wife told me that I didn't have a child, so I don't have a child. And so, he died. He went home to be with the Lord, just saying that he didn't have a child. But anyway, communication opened up. 2011, I had a chance to go back to the Philippines. And again, I wish I could show you guys pictures, you guys. I wish I could show you pictures. I went back to, I found out about my nieces and nephews. My nieces, actually, because apparently my sister had a son who passed away, unfortunately. I think he drowned in the river, I think was, of April or March 1981. And I was born November 1981, which was crazy. Okay? So my sister loses a son, and I was born that same year in November. Because when I told my niece, my other niece now, in Saragossa, I said, give them my picture, let them know who I am. I said, I want to see, I want them to know me, I want to know her. They said that when they saw a picture of me, I look like her son. There might be a part two, yes, you guys, but there is a part two. But again, this is how it came about. And pretty much, I went home, or not home, I went back to the Philippines. And let me tell you guys this, and we'll talk another day with this, and hopefully I'll have pictures ready for you guys. Okay, so that's the deal. Okay, hopefully I'll have pictures for you guys on the next hang time. But yeah, I went back and we were able to hash out some of the things that, like the stories, and I got to see my sister. Actually, you know what? Maybe if I can show this just so that you guys can see this before I close up today. Because I really wanted you guys to see my sister. Her name is Elenita. And I pretty much, when I saw her, I saw my dad, y'all. When I saw her picture, I put her picture, my photo, and my dad all together, and we all have the same facial section, and it gave me chicken skin. Like, seriously, I'm like, this is my sister, no doubt, y'all. This is my sister. And there were days where I said, Dad, if you could only see your daughter. If you could only see your daughter. Guys, this is my sister, Elenita. Okay? This is her. Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to move the mic. Okay? Hold on. Okay. That's my sister, you guys. And shame on me, I still don't remember how many years apart we are with my sister, but it's that whole span of time again with my sister, that we're like years and years and years apart, but I don't care. Okay, she's my sister, and I love her very much. I love all the kids. That's why, if we go according to Filipino standards, right now I'm a great grandpa, you guys. No joke, I'm a great grandpa, because if you follow the line, if you keep following it, yeah. Anyway, I'm a great grandpa, you guys, already. So I that's why I shave, because I want to stay young. And I told my nieces and nephews, or the grandkids, supposedly, okay, they're supposed to call me grandpa. I told them, no, you guys are gonna call me uncle. Okay, that's the farthest that you guys will go. Okay, maybe the younger kids, they can call me, I don't want to be called Lolo, because Lolo in Tagalog is grandpa. Lolo and Lola. Oh, you see the resemblance, huh? You guys see the resemblance? Wait until you see my dad's photo of us all three. Then you're gonna be like, oh my word. Okay, this is the part that I'm gonna be like, to be continued. Remember when I told you guys that my dad went back to the Philippines in 1981? Okay, 1981. And they built a church there and they baptized people in the river. Well, when I went back to the Philippines in 2011, my family had pictures because when they found out that my dad was heading back to his hometown in Saragossa, they wanted to see him. Now they were kind of like told, don't tell him who you are. Don't tell him, your identity. Don't say who you are because we don't want to mess him up. He has a new life now, and he has a new family, and yada yada yada, and all that kind of stuff. So they were, kind of like told, don't say who you are. But get this. My sister, who was a baby yet at that time, a youngster, when my dad, no, my niece, it's my niece now, who was there, and again, this is the to be continued. I'll show you the pictures, hopefully I can find them. My dad held my sister I at that time, and he baptized my niece in the river. So my niece was able to see my dad at that time. They got to see him back in 1981, but he did not know who they were, nor did they tell him who they were. But there's a picture that they kept so that when that day came, which I'm glad it had happened, they showed me the proof. They're like, look at this. Your dad held your ate in his hands. Sure enough, there he was. And my and I think I don't know if my sister was there or not. But he got to baptize his own grandkids at the river. Don't tell me that's like, what? You're like, woohoo, kind of a thing, because they showed me the picture and I'm like, okay, no, I believe you. So part 2 of my sister going back to the Philippines with the pictures, I will save that for another hang time with Bruddah Sam, because yes, thank you guys. I gotta go have dinner now with my family, but it's great to have you guys on tonight. I'm gonna leave you hanging with that, okay? That my dad actually got to see his daughter and his grandkids. So when my dad had that conversation, remember I said back in July of 2009 that God told him that it's time to go, that he, the promise has been fulfilled, that he will see the children of his children. He did see the children of his children because he already saw them back in 1981 before he saw me, and then now my son in 2009. Okay, that's crazy. That is crazy. So God did fulfill the promise. He did not go back on his promise. God fulfilled that promise. And that's what they told me. He says, nope, you were sharing at his funeral that, God didn't fulfill the promise of seeing the children of his children. He did, because here's the proof. And I can't go back on that, guys, because it's true. There's a photo. They have it. Yeah, so anyway, to be continued on that. The story of my dad and my sister. Again, hopefully by then I'll figure out my computer so that you guys can see photos and stuff like that. But in any case, as I let you guys go, I hope, just sharing my dad's story of faith, sharing my dad's story of hope, and again, just a little bit of my backstory. I hope that encouraged some of you guys online, to continue trekking on, to continue holding on, just like that song, Because He Lives, I Can Face Tomorrow, that many of you guys who, are going through stuff, just keep smiling, keep that smile on your face, and keep trusting the Lord. He's got your back. He's got you. And I know we didn't have time to play piano a lot tonight, and stuff like that, but I'll save that for another time. But anyway, aloha to all of you guys, the Alohana crew. I gotta get used to saying that to you guys. But yes, like I said, have a good night. Have a good time with your family. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, many of you guys. But before I go, like I said, I just want to say a special prayer for you guys, because again, I know there's someone who's watching tonight that you needed to hear that story of faith, needed to hear that story of hope, that don't give up. You know, that even if God may not answer the prayer now, He may answer it then. And just like my dad, he died not knowing who his daughter was. God already showed the promise to him in His time while he was still alive. So we can't dictate to the Lord how He does things, but how He does it for us, it's always a blessing. So in any case, I know some of you guys have shared your prayer requests with me, and I have a book that I put it in, so I'll continue to pray for you guys. And thank you guys for always checking up on me. I'm feeling much better now. Still finding a little tiredness and weakness here and there, when I try to push myself. But mahalo much for hanging out, for praying with me and, praying for my healing. So thank you guys so much. But anyway, let me just close it up. God, I thank you so much for YouTube Ohana, God, for my Olahana crew. God, I thank you so much for each and every one of them. God, I just pray a special prayer over the families, God, that is represented on this online chat feed, live stream, what have you. That, God, as they heard the story of the testimony, the story of my dad and, my sister coming into play, Lord, I pray that as they take some of it into perspective, I don't know how they can apply it or how it could help them or encourage them, but knowing that he had faith in you, with just saying yes. God, I pray that if there's some people on here that may not have yet received you as their personal Lord and Savior, I pray, Lord, that they too would be able to find you and have you as their personal Lord and Savior. And so, Jesus, I pray, God, that even a simple prayer of, God, I want you to be the Lord of my life. I want you to be, in my life. And, I don't know what tomorrow may bring, but I dedicate my life to you. Have my life. If that's something that you want to pray and just say, Jesus, come into my heart. I want to have that same faith and that same courage that Bruddah Sam's dad had. You could have that today. You could definitely have that. All you have to say, Jesus, come into my life, change my life. Turn my life around. I know I messed up, but I know your grace is sufficient for me. You died on the cross for me. And just like that song, because he lives, I can face tomorrow. If that's you, just praying that simple prayer, say, Jesus, come into my heart. I accept you as my personal Lord and Savior. Make my heart your home. If you pray that prayer, man, many of us who are already, we rejoice with you. Angels in heaven, rejoice with you. Or maybe you have turned away from the Lord, and you turned away from church, or you turned away because some things may have happened, or whatever that story may be. I don't know. There's no judgment here, you guys. People have their stories and stuff. But again, you guys hear it from me. I know me sharing all this kind of stuff is just, it's a big task, and I'm not sharing anything that's fake. This is all real. This is my story. And so my prayer is that you be blessed by it. But God, I just pray for all the Ohana out there again. Be with them this week. Protect them. Give them strength. Those who need strength. Those who need healing, God, I pray you bring healing upon their bodies. But for all my friends who are online, God, those who need to hear this and those who are listening right now to the sound of my voice, God, let them hear your voice this week. Let them be encouraged. God, I thank you so much. Until the next time we have our hang time, God, I pray that you just make everything work next time so that I can share a little bit more of my story. And may you be glorified in all things, and may you get the glory in all things. I just love you, and we just love you back. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen, amen, amen. All right. Aloha crew, YouTube Ohana, mahalo much for hanging out with Bruddah Sam. Hang time. I know time is always of the essence, limited. I gotta go hele on, eat dinner with the family. But enjoy your week. Have a great and safe week wherever you guys are at, and continue to keep that smile on your face. I'll see how many reaction videos I can get to this week. But other than that, it is much love and aloha from this brother to you. Take care. Isaac, Pastor Jared, thank you guys so much for being online. I know you guys are watching, and many of you guys, all the brothers out there, You guys know who you are. Take care. Love you guys. Mahalo much, brother Isaac. I don't know what you did over there, but mahalo much, man. Love you. Take care. Aloha, you guys.